Hey Jibbies, he's back, and it's a pickup video, and as always it's a usual mix of gaming related tut. It's going to be mostly imports today, but before I get stuck on the games, there's a few non-games to show you. As always, there's the vinyl of the month, and I have here the soundtrack to Iron Man 2. AC/DC, yeah. To get a greatest hits of AC/DC on vinyl is not easy. They haven't really released a studio album of greatest hits. They've done live concerts and stuff on vinyl, but not studio. And so the movie has hell of a lot of tracks, cassette AC/DC tracks. And so this is like a double vinyl with nice pictures, innards and stuff. So the nearest thing you get to a AC/DC soundtrack, greatest hits I would say, is this soundtrack. So it's got War Machine, Highway to Hell, all the good classic songs on here really. And I got it off eBay, like new condition for about 20 quid. So I thought that's good. Also I have a 4K stroke Blu-ray. And it's a steelbook edition of The Goonies. Classic, we all know The Goonies. This wasn't a lot of money, it was about 16 quid really. So, yeah, a classic example of a film done right with actually young actors. There's so many movies and Netflix and stuff whereby they have young people cast by people aged between 25 and 30. Even though they're supposed to be between 15 and 17. But The Goonies and a few modern things like Stranger Things and a few other good movies that escape my mind. They do have young actors, and that's that's what makes it work. As long as they're good actors, of course. Okay, books. Okay, about a few months back, I bought the. It's by Geeks Line book. They do a lot of historical anthology type books on a lot of the older systems, and this is one on the PC Engine. So it goes into history of a PC Engine, and it gives an overview of most of the games, if not all the little games, which is quite handy. The history bit's more interesting than anything else, and it shows a lot of hardware. Sometimes it shows lots of limited editions and all sorts of things. So it's quite a good read, this. But these aren't cheap. I think this was about. I think I got this for actually. Normally it can go for about 45 quid. I think I got that for about 30 from Amazon a few months back. But last week in the post came from Bitmap Books. This bad boy, the PC Engine box art collection. Now they also done one for Game Boy, but it's a PC Engine one I was more interested in, because it not only has a chapter on the history of the PC Engine, but it has every single PC Engine game with a decent picture of the cover, and also gameplay, and some blurb about what the game's about and when it was released and stuff. And so this is a lovely way of just exploring the the PC Engine library, looking at all the wonderful art. Because in my mind, the artwork for PC Engine is it's probably the best really. I think it's second to none. Famicom artwork great, Japanese Famicom, and Japanese Mega Drive artwork is pretty good too. But I think the PC Engine really hit it great. And you may argue that's because a lot of the games there's on the back of the hue cards especially, there's no picture of the actual game itself, it's just the cover, and so they had to use the artwork to sell the game. You wonder why Master System games think about that, or those other systems, or but at least at least the games were good, unlike a lot of the 8-bit and 16 micro games whereby they have the amount of good artwork, but then they have artwork from the arcade version of the game, or the much more powerful version of the game, as opposed to actually what you get on your tape or what cartridge. So there's a bit of dishonesty in the UK on that front. But at least with the Japanese games, you can look at the artwork and hope the game's decent. And with this book, you get to see some of the gameplay too, game footage as well. So it's lovely. So this is a really good book. It's not a lot of money. It's about 30 quid from Bitmap Books. So I highly recommend that, guys. If you like the PC Engine, of course, which you should do if you, in my book, if you're into retro games. Okay, I've got a few little bits of hardware to show you. Let's get them out of the way. Controller. There's this bad boy called a PS4 Fusion controller. It's a wide gamepad which comes with different colour magnetic plates, so you can have black, white or blue. And basically it's modelled on the Saturn, the Model 2 Saturn controller. And so if you want a decent controller on the PS4 for your fighting games or your even your shooting games, this is a good alternative. And I got this off eBay, brand new. Seller had loads of them, and I was selling them for about 18 quid. So it's not expensive. Even on Amazon, I don't think it's any more than 30 quid. So I highly recommend that. It comes with a decent box too. Not that matters much. Talk of controllers. I'm sure I've got another one of these here somewhere. But anyway, 8BitDo. I've brought out the Japanese Model 2 white colour scheme for their M30 controllers. Easiest place to get these from is from the 8BitDo store on Etsy, not Etsy, AliExpress. I think it's about £26 shipped or something like that. I've got, here's a Bluetooth one. Also got the other one, what was it? What's it called? A gigahertz one. Well, that isn't Bluetooth. I can't remember what it's called now. The technology. I can't remember what it's called now. But it comes with a dongle anyway. So yeah, these are really nice controllers, by the way. Super sexy and must own. I do have the other one, like I said, but I can't quite see it at hand. It might be at the bottom of this bag. Also, I bought recently, this is from, I think it was New Look or something like that. They had a few retro accessories, and they had the Sega Saturn bum bag based on the Model 2 Japanese Sega Saturn controller, and they had one left in the New Look store. This is going back about a couple of months ago, so I was more than pleased to get this. It wasn't cheap, it was about £16. But what have I got inside it? A console I bought. Okay, if I were to show you this console, you'll know, you see, it is a PSP. And if I turn it around, you think, oh, that's odd. Two colour schemes. And you think, oh, it's probably been modded or whatever. And that's what the seller of this thought it was. They sold it on eBay and I won it for £25. But it's not been modded. I've soft modded it, but that's another matter altogether. It needed a new battery, which is it's quite common with PSPs. The batteries always swell and you need to replace those. I've got a nice little clear case for it too. This is the Simpsons PSP. Obviously, it's based on the white and yellow, skin colour. So, yeah, super uncommon PSP. To get a box one of these, you're probably looking at about between £250 and £300. So to get a one on its own for 25 quid, it was a steal. Basically, the guys selling this did not know what they had, and so I was more than happy to bid on this, and unfortunately I won it. No one else was watching it, so that was a good steal, because I think on its own you're probably looking at about nearly £100 for that if it's sold as what it is. Okay, let's do some PAL games, shall we? Yeah, let's do some PAL games. Right. First of all, on the 2600, we have Hero. Now this is a later release, which says on the bottom for 2600 and 7800 Atari. So this is a black and white release. It comes with a manual and box. And I got this from a seller on eBay for what I thought was a really good price. It was about 35 quid. I put my own box protector around it. The box needed a little bit of an iron, but the rest of it's, you know, fine condition. I mean, a lot of people were saying the black and white carts on their own for 35 quid. So to get a box complete one for 35 quid, I thought, yes, please, because obviously it is a you know, a must-own game for a system. I also got for 7800 a box copy of Galaga, all complete. I think this was about between 25 and £30 mark. Yeah, I do like the Galaga and Galaxian games. I do have some more 2600 carts I've got from the States, which I'll probably at the bottom of the bag, so show them if we get there in time. I don't want this video to be too long. Stu at UK was saying he as always sells bits, and he got a Monster Hall quite quite a good price, and he was selling bits from it. And I wanted this title he was selling, and it's Virtuon Cyber Troopers. He sold us. He done a really good deal on that, all complete. Thank you, Stu. That was one Saturn game I was not desperate to own, but I was, you know, one of the ones I think, should I have it if I get it for a good price? Yeah, and so Stu helped us out great for that. The Sega Mega CD, again, I've pretty much finished collecting for that, but there's a couple of titles I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind owning those if they're cheap, and I was able to get these both for really good prices. Dave Retro Games Plays Badly picked this up recently, and it is June. I think, I can't remember what I paid for this. I think it was about a £25 mark, all complete. It's based on the Amiga game, and obviously we all know the new movies. This other one was also on the Mega Drive, I believe. It is Wolfchild. I got this all complete from CX actually. And how much did I pay for it from CX? I think it was about 18 quid price. I think it was. It was quite a good deal, and quite a good solid platforming game. Okay, let's go on to the imports. Okay, the N64. I'll probably be jumping back and forth on systems because I haven't organised these. Got a big bag of imports here, so it's all going to come out random. The N64. This game, if you bought a PAL copy, it must have come out towards the end of the system's life. Although it is a popular IP, so why it's uncommon and expensive, I'm not too sure. But it is not uncommon or expensive if you buy the Japanese copy, which I did. Box to complete for 27 quid with shipping. If you buy a PAL copy, you'll probably get it boxed for about 250 quid, and the cart on its own for about 150, and that's on the N64. Now this game, it's hardly any language in it, and so you can easily play a Japanese copy without any difficulties whatsoever, and so it's a good one to get on the Japanese, and that is Kirby 64 with Crystal Shards. Got a nice little box protector for that one. Okay, another big hit from Japan. This game, again, super expensive. I don't. You didn't get this in Western Europe, but you did get it in America, and it's called Aero Fights in America on the SNES, and it is a super expensive game. Cart only. I think it's about £1,500 or something daft like that, and you can pay £1,500 just for a box, never mind the actual complete copy. So complete copies must be, I assume, double that, about 3,000. But the Japanese copy called Sonic Wings is much cheaper, but not cheap. I think probably, you know, how expensive the Aero Fighters is. It may have, you know, pushed a lot of collectors to get a lot of the Japanese copies, so it's probably what pushed the Japanese price up. So it's not super common, it's not rare, but it's not cheap. And I got this boxed and complete for £110 from Japan, and that is Sonic Wings on a Super Famicom. I do love the Sonic Wings games. They're really good, solid shooting games. Yeah, I thought it was a really good one to own on the Super Famicom and SNES. Must own shooter, if you ask me. But like I said, it's not cheap. Okay. Right, here I've got a couple of PlayStation 1 games. Clock Tower: The First Sphere. This is a remake of the Super Famicom game, I think, or was it any Famicom game? Can't remember. But it's the first Clock Tower game that we did not get in the West. But this is like a port to PlayStation. Quite cheap. I think it was about £17 mark. And then there was a Clock Tower Ghost Head game as well. Again, this wasn't expensive. I think this is about the £25 mark. All complete. There's about, I think there's another 2 Clock Tower games. I know we've got Clock Tower 3 on the PS2 in the West, and also Clock Tower, which is a remake of Clock Tower 2, I think, on the PS1, which I've got. But yeah, there's a few more from Japan. Right, this game, next one is on the Sega Saturn. I don't think this came to Power Territories either, but it did come to America, and it's a very expensive RPG. And I think it's, you know, I think it's about £300 or £400 plus over in America, and that is Sega Saturn copy of Magic Knight Rayearth. Now this is the Japanese copy, which comes with a nice gatefold outer sleeve to a CD with a little art book inside, and it's all complete. And I got this for about £24 from Japan. Again, it's Japanese, so I've got a modded Saturn with English ROMs and stuff on it, so that's the way of playing it. That's the easier way of playing it. But it's nice to have a physical copy of a very super expensive RPG, and for that sort of money, it's, you know, cheap and cheerful, I would say. Okay. Okay, Neo Geo CD. Now, I pretty much finished collecting apart from one game which I've got as a repo, which I want to upgrade to original copy, which is, I'll save for another day, which I've not got yet. But there was a couple of other fighting games which I did not own, not on the Neo Geo CD. I've got one of them on other systems, and I think the other one isn't exclusive to a Neo Geo CD. So I think what's exclusive to Neo Geo CD is World Bout Fatal Fury 2. I got this for quite a good price actually. It was 60 quid. It was listed as having the OP or whatever they call it on the listing, but it never came with it. So I mentioned it to a seller, and he said, "No worries, I'm not £20 off if you like." And I said, "Yeah, that's fine with me." But it still had a manual, so I got this for 40 quid instead of 60, which is a good price for World Bout Fatal Fury 2, because it's not a cheap game. Probably because I don't think you can get on many systems. And then there's the first World Bout Fatal Fury as well, which is much more cheaper. I think that was about £16 mark. So I didn't have those two, so I thought I'll get those. I said cheap, and you know, I said reasonably cheap. There's another game which I've been wanting as well, which I played, and I've enjoyed it, but It's stupidly expensive on the Neo Geo CD. I think it's probably, I think it's about £500 or £600 mark, which is something I'm never going to pay, not for this particular game anyway. But is in the States it's Neo Turf Masters, or in Japan Big Tournament Golf, a really good golf game. And this is not original copy, this is a reproduction copy, which just comes with a nice printed disc, which plays fine on the system. The system doesn't know it's a repro, but it looks good on, it looks good on the shelf. I've put my own little repro stickers, as I do on my repro games, because I don't pass off repros as real thing. I clearly mark them as repros. But it's nice to have a Japanese jewel case for that, and yeah, much better way of playing it. I want to pay 14 quid and £600 for that particular game. I've got here a big bundle of 2600 games. I think there's 4 or 5. I'm pretty sure I've got 6 games. And it's just a case of finding them. We have to have a hunt for that. I'm sure there's another 2600 game here I got as well. I got this as a part of a bundle. The bundle would have been about 50 quid, but as usual, if you buy a bundle stuff from America, sometimes it can go up when you pay tax and import duties. And so it went up from 50 quid to about 80 quid. But for these games, that's still a relatively good price. One of the ones that isn't here, that's in the bag somewhere, which is a big hitter. I'll show you when I get to it, but we've got here Sega's Star Trek Strategic Operations Simulator. I think that's pretty much, that may have another title in Power Territories, but I know we didn't get it as Star Trek, or am I just confusing that with a Vectrix game? I'm probably confusing it with a Vectrix game, but I don't think we got that in Power anyway for 2600. And then we got a Tron game, sorry, it's a Tron game that's in the bag. I've got the Tron game, one of the 2 Tron games. Is it a disc one? I can't remember. It's in the bag, I'll show you later. But we got Masters of the Universe with Power of He-Man on 2600, which again is not a cheap game. We got a really good 2600 game, which we did get in Power, but this is an American copy, Wizards of War. It's a bit like the Alien games mixed with Pac-Man, with a bit more action and stuff. It's quite a good game, I would say. We've got an unusual game, Private Eye, 2600. A bit complicated that game is. And then we got Snoopy and the Red Baron, which I'm really pleased to own too. Again, I don't think we got this in Power. I think it's an American exclusive. Just come across it and bottom of the bag. It's a 2.4G. That's the technology I was thinking of, a wireless gamepad. So I've got this as well, the Bluetooth one. Yeah, I just think these are super sexy. And at the bottom of the bag, I also come across that controller, that PS4 Saturn Inspire controller. So here it is. And like I said, there's a good bit of weight to it. You just, like I said, you want to change the thickness. It's magnetic. See these little magnets there, the cover plate. You just go on it, it's like that. And it's a really nice fight pad, or we use it for your shooting games. It's really nice. It comes with a wire and everything, but it's really good for the PS4. So I recommend those. Okay, this is an Australian DS game. I got the Australian copy because it was cheap. Saying that, I think it's still about £50 mark. And it is Mega Man Zero Collection. all complete. Came from Australia, all English. So pleased to have that. This is the American copy of a game that we do have both digitally and physically in Europe, but there was a sale on eBay that had loads of American sealed copies for £10 each, half the price of a European copy. So I just got the American copy of Martian Panic, physical, for £10, cheap and cheerful. Okay. There's the another 2600 game that was part of the bundle. Atari's Pigs in Space. Quite uncommon. I don't know if we get game to Europe, but that's the American copy. Okay. Right. I'm trying to remember how much I paid for this. It wasn't a huge amount of money. It's an American copy of Ghosts and Goblins, all sealed with a manual. NES. And I think it was maybe 40 or 45. Can't remember. It wasn't too much, but still, box NES game. That ain't bad. Okay, couple more PlayStation 1 games. Got the Toplan Shooting Battle collection. This has got Tiger Heli and Twin Cobra and the American version of Tiger Heli, I think. So it's got 3 games on it. So a nice little collection on the PlayStation. These games have been ported onto PS4, which I've probably got in that bag somewhere. But the original PS1 collection is really nice to have, and it's not a cheap bundle of games. I think that's about the £70 mark on the PlayStation 1. I went into the about a month ago. My wife was in the Southend Hospital and having a chemo treatment, and she's doing okay, by the way. I mean, she's lost her hair, but she's doing okay. But we've got another appointment next week, so I'll probably pop into Retro Hunter in Leigh-on-Sea, Southend, see Ali there. It's the first time I went last month, and I had a good chat with Ali, really friendly. Bought a few, about 2 or 3 games in there, and one of them was on a PlayStation 1, Wolfang. Again, it's the way I guess it's a bit like what's it a bit like? What's the best way of comparing it to? Is it am I thinking it's not Cyber Troopers? That's that Saturn game I showed. I mean, it's basically a mech side shooter type mech game. So quite pleased to have that. It was quite a good price he done us for. I think it's about a £45 mark. And on the Saturn he did this Pocket Fighters. Again, I think it was about a £40 mark again. I can't remember now. But yeah, on a Sega Saturn. And this game I got from eBay. James, a Retro Import Gamer, had this. He does not like it particularly well. I've got this on a Neo Geo CD, but he showed the Saturn copy, and I thought, oh, I haven't got that on Saturn, but I do have it on Neo Geo CD. I've not played. I enjoyed playing the Neo Geo CD version, but I'm not sure how good the Saturn version compares. But anyway, it should be better, I would have thought. But anyway, it's Galaxy Fight, all complete. Alright, let's show a few shall we show a few Nintendo Switch imports. So we got the Telenet Shooting Collection. This has Gavaris, Gurada, Circuit Storm, Avenger. So it's got limited run. I've got the license to do a Western release of this, but there was a Japanese copy, which is what I got here really. So with hindsight, I would have preferred the limited run copy, I suppose. But then you don't always know these things happen, do you? But it's alright, Japanese, it'll still play fine. They are in shooters at the end of the day, so there's no language problems on that front. This game I'm really glad to have, Castle of Shikigami 2. I do have this, I think, on the Japanese PS2, I think. Yeah, another really good bullet hell game. And another bullet hell, Betsugan's Saturn Tribute Boosted on the Switch, and because it's I really love this, these bullet hell games. I also got it on the PS4 as well. And talking on PS4, while we're here with PS4, I got the M2 Zero Fire collection on the PS4, which is Zero Wing and Hellfire, and a couple other bonus titles, I believe, too. Yep. Zero Wing and Hellfire, great games on the Mega Drive, so to have revamped versions by M2 was really nice. And then we've got, this is the English language version of Fatal Frame Mask of a Lunar Eclipse. And then another shooting game we have here, Trouble Witches Final, and this came with a nice photo art book, data book, as a promo from Amazon in Japan. So yeah, I can't remember how much I paid for that. Was it Amazon in Japan? Is it Amazon in Japan? Pay Asia, I can't remember. They came with this book anyway. That other Trade 600 game I had, Adventures of Tron. That's it. It's Discs of Tron I want to get as well when I see a cheap copy. Okay. I think all the rest of the games are more modern ones, and I'm conscious of the time on this video, so I think I'll save those for another day. I think I'll just show the ones I've got here in hand. Okay, for today. So from First Press Games, we've got Ginga Force on the PS4. Comes with a nice gold coin as well as outer sleeve. These outer sleeves I've done on several games, and this is like number 5. And you would have thought that's number 5 out of the blue shooting collection, but they're not all shooting games, so you don't want to get every single one of the numbers unless you're a bit angry, because they're not all shooting games. But here's another one, Natsuki Chronicles. Again, it comes with a little promotional coin and some pamphlet of sorts. And then we've got here a really cool fighting game, and it's called Smashing the Battle Ghost Soul from PlayAsia. Not too expensive, but it's supposed to be quite a really good fighting game. And I've got this on Xbox 360. Was there a port on the PlayStation 3? I can't remember. But it's Akai Katana Shin, which I think means red sword. A katana's a sword, so yeah, really good. But hell, and we've got the Konami collection of arcade classic games. So we've got a lot of like Salamander games and Gradius games, and got a few classic Konami games on here. This is limited one. And last but not least, we have, again, this is not, I think this one's an import and the other one isn't. So this is the import, Legend of Mana. Pretty sure that's an import. Square Enix, Region 3, whatever, Legend of Mana, or English. And then we've got Trials of Mana as well, which I'm sure was a Western release, but the same IP, I believe. And that'll do for today. I still got a third of a bag of other imports to show at another day, and a big bag of power releases, which I can save another day. But that will do us for today, I think. Yeah, I hope you're all doing well, and please, you know, like, leave comments, whatever else you like to do. Always love reading people's messages and responding to a community. It's really, you know, it's what makes this worthwhile. But until then, guys, until my next video, take care. Bye.